Today's story, my name is Emily. I've just finished another grueling day at work, and now I'm here on the bus, heading home. This bus ride has become my refuge, a place where I can unwind and watch the world outside. Pressing my face against the window, I see the city passing by, a blur of colors and faces. Sometimes I feel like my life at work is just like being on autopilot. It's as if I'm going through the motions, day in and day out, without much sense or purpose behind it. Don't get me wrong, I'm grateful for my job and the stability it provides, but there are moments when I question if this is really what I'm meant to be doing. Every morning, I wake up to the same routine, rush through breakfast, and head to the office. I sit at my desk, go through my emails, attend meetings, complete tasks, and then it's time to go home. Rinse and repeat. It's like I'm trapped in this cycle of sameness, and it can be incredibly disheartening. I used to have dreams and aspirations, you know? I thought I'd be doing something that truly mattered, something that would make a difference in the world. But now, I feel like I'm just a cog in the corporate machine, a small part of a larger system that I don't fully understand. It's not that I don't try my best at work, I do. But there's a nagging feeling that what I'm doing doesn't have a real impact on anyone's life. I often find myself wondering if there's more to life than this routine, if there's a way to find meaning and purpose in what I do. When I look out the bus window and see all those people with their diverse lives and passions, it makes me question my own path. I envy their enthusiasm and wonder if I'm missing out on something truly fulfilling. I want to break free from this sense of automatic living and find a way to infuse my life with purpose and meaning again. I can't help but notice the people on the street. They all seem to represent different lives, each one so different from mine. As the bus makes its stops, I find myself instinctively comparing my life to theirs. There's a young man in a sharp suit who catches my eye. He's striding down the sidewalk with confidence, briefcase in hand. His determined steps speak of ambition, success, and a life filled with meetings and deadlines. I wonder if I should be more like him, pursuing a more glamorous career. When I saw that man in the sharp suit striding confidently down the street earlier, it brought back a vivid memory. It reminded me of a time when I mustered up the courage to approach a similar guy and ask him out on a date. But the outcome wasn't quite what I had hoped for. It happened a few years ago, back when I was feeling a bit more adventurous. I had spotted this dashing man in a suit at a coffee shop, and something about him had piqued my interest. Maybe it was his charisma, or perhaps it was just one of those moments when you feel a sudden surge of boldness. I remember rehearsing my lines in my head, trying to sound confident, but when I finally approached him, my heart was racing like crazy. I stammered out an invitation for coffee, expecting him to flash that charming smile and accept. But instead, he politely declined, explaining that he was swamped with work and didn't have the time. It was a simple rejection, nothing harsh or hurtful, but it stung nonetheless. I felt a mix of embarrassment and disappointment, like I had overstepped some unspoken boundary. I walked away, trying to hide my disappointment, and never saw him again. Seeing that man in the suit today brought all those memories flooding back. It's funny how a chance encounter can stir up long-buried emotions. But you know what? It's also a reminder that life is full of these moments, some pleasant, some not so much. And while I might have been rejected that day, I've also experienced my fair share of delightful surprises and unexpected connections. Then, observing some more, there's that elderly couple, holding hands as they walk along. The wisdom in their eyes suggests decades spent together, and their laughter implies a love that's weathered life's storms. It makes my heart ache as I think about my own search for love and wonder if my time for such a connection will ever come. Seeing that elderly couple walking hand in hand, it brought back memories of a different time in my life. It reminded me of my boyfriend from university, a wonderful person who I shared a deep connection with. But circumstances pulled us apart, and it wasn't easy. We were inseparable during our time at university. We studied together, laughed together, and dreamt about our future together. It felt like we were invincible, that nothing could ever come between us. But then reality hit when he received an incredible job offer on the other side of the country. It was an opportunity he couldn't pass up, even though it meant leaving me behind. I remember the day we sat down to talk about it. The weight of the decision hung heavy in the air. We both knew that maintaining a long-distance relationship would be incredibly challenging. We had tearful discussions about the possibilities and the uncertainty of it all. In the end, we decided it was best to part ways, even though it broke both our hearts. As I saw the elderly couple today, still so deeply in love after all those years, makes me wonder what might have been. I can't help but think about the path not taken, the relationship that had to end because of circumstances beyond our control. It's a bittersweet feeling, a reminder that life can be both beautiful and heartbreaking. A group of children playing near a park grabs my attention next. Their backpacks bounce as they run toward an ice cream truck, their laughter and boundless energy such a contrast to my adult responsibilities and worries. You know, as I look out the bus window and see those children playing near the park, it reminds me so much of my own childhood. It was a time when life seemed simpler and full of wonder. But my childhood was quite different from what I see outside today. I grew up in a modest home in a quiet suburban neighborhood. My father worked long hours to provide for our family, and my mother, well, she was the heart of our home. She had this incredible talent for cooking, and our kitchen was always filled with the most amazing aromas. You could say she was a master chef in her own right, even though she never had any formal training. But I didn't always appreciate it back then. As a child, I thought my mother was wasting her life cooking and cleaning. I used to wonder why she didn't have a job like my friends' moms, something that would take her out into the world and give her recognition beyond our family. I thought she deserved more than just being a homemaker. I remember sitting at the kitchen table, watching her tirelessly prepare meals, and thinking, is this all there is to life? I couldn't understand why she was so content with this routine. I wanted adventure and excitement, not the monotony of chores and cooking. I continued to observe the people on the street, a street artist sketching in the park, a street musician playing a melancholic tune, a homeless man huddled in a corner, and a young woman engrossed in a book at a cafe, seemingly lost in another world. When I saw that artist on the street, completely engrossed in their work, it brought back a flood of memories from my university days. It reminded me of a time when I was so deeply passionate about sculpting and painting. Those were some of the most fulfilling moments of my life. During my time at university, I took every voluntary art class I could get my hands on. It wasn't even related to my major, but I couldn't resist the pull of creating something beautiful from a blank canvas or a lump of clay. Those art studios became my sanctuary, a place where I could lose myself in the world of colors and forms. I remember the smell of paint, the feel of the sculpting tools in my hands, and the exhilaration of bringing my imagination to life. I'd spend hours experimenting, making mistakes, and learning from them. It was a form of self-expression that allowed me to convey emotions and ideas that words often couldn't capture. My professors and fellow students would often comment on how dedicated I was to my art. I'd stay late in the studio, sometimes even pulling all-nighters, to perfect a piece or meet a deadline. It was demanding, but it was also incredibly rewarding. I felt like I was in my element, doing something that truly resonated with my soul. But as life moved forward, and the demands of the real world took over, I slowly drifted away from my art. Responsibilities at work, bills to pay, and the relentless march of time all took their toll. Seeing that artist today reminds me of how much I miss those moments of pure creativity and self-expression. There's one particular creation from my art days that I'm especially proud of. It was a sculpture I crafted during my final year at university. The piece was titled Eternal Connection, and it held a deep personal significance for me. I had been inspired by the idea of capturing the essence of human relationships, the bonds that connect us across time and space. To bring this concept to life, I decided to create a sculpture of two hands, reaching out to each other. One hand was weathered and aged, representing the wisdom of age and experience, while the other was young and vibrant, symbolizing the vitality of youth. As I look out at all these people on the street and reflect on their diverse lives and experiences, a deep sense of nostalgic sadness washes over me. It's a feeling of disappointment in myself, a nagging thought that I could have chosen a more interesting path in life. I see the young professionals in their sharp suits, the elderly couples still holding hands, and the artists lost in their creative worlds. And I can't help but wonder if I've missed out on something. Have I settled for a life that's too ordinary, too safe? There's a sense of longing for the road not taken, for the adventures not pursued. I can't help but question my choices, the decisions that led me to where I am today. Did I choose the easy path instead of the one that would have truly ignited my passions and brought me fulfillment? It's not that I regret the life I've lived so far, it's just that I've reached a point where I crave something more. I long for the excitement of pursuing my dreams, for the thrill of stepping out of my comfort zone, and for the satisfaction of knowing that I'm living life to the fullest. As I ride this bus and watch the world pass by, I'm reminded that life is a series of choices, and it's never too late to make a change. Perhaps it's time for me to rediscover my passions, to take a chance on a more interesting and fulfilling path. After all, these feelings of nostalgia and disappointment are not a dead end but a call to action, an invitation to explore new horizons and create a life that truly resonates with my heart and soul. I think a change wouldn't hurt anyone, right? If you've listened until now, make sure you like and subscribe, so you'll know when the next story comes around.